locked in. One of the few teams in Europe who actually still likes to play Sivir. Obviously with Steelback and the synergy you have with like a Rengar pick from Rain over here. With him being banned away instantly against Lulex, we will see this quite often. It is his main champion. He can dominate games completely on it. And also Kassadin been taken away. So 2 fairly predictable bans from Fnatic early on.
Yeah, not really all that surprised to see that one there. And again, we've only seen 1 game off Fnatic so far. They looked very strong, but as everyone's been saying, we don't want to draw really strong conclusions so far.
But so we have only seen 1 game in the LCS, but again, from talking to the players, from talking to the other teams, they all talk very highly of Fnatic and saying the scrims, they have been dominating. Huni in the top lane has been looking great. Synergy with Rainova, and of course Febvin, we know how good he is in the mid lane, and he's very respected among all the other players in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jarvan ban as well. And that is really a lot of jungle ban focus. I mean, the Rek'Sai is pretty much a guarantee at this point, but you know, it'll be interesting to see what the last 2 are, because there's a lot that's been untouched here. Gnar still on the board.
Rengar would be open as well for Rainova, so I don't think he cares too much about the Jarvan ban coming in against him. Yeah, Gnar would be a possible first pick. Janna, if you want it for Yellowstar, if you don't want to go for the engage here. Them banning away Lissandra really actually does tell me Gnar could be the first pick for Huni. So taking away the top lane who could actually deal with him, and also kind of like outplay him in terms of teleports, should open up for Gnar here.
There's still a lot that are falling down in those second tiers, and they're completely ignoring a lot of the other lanes, the mid lane and the bottom lane as well. I mean, Kassadin is that flex pick, so is Lissandra, but there's still a lot on the table here, and it all comes down to what H2K wants to prioritize last. They will get 2 pretty strong picks no matter what on that rotation, and it looks like, yep, it's going to be the Gnar ban. Yeah,
so banning it away is simply due to Lissandra being banned on the side of Fnatic here, knowing, okay, Gnar was going to be picked up by Huni, a champion he's played a lot of in solo queue, 100% win rate.
Oh!
And wow, first pick is Zed.
Yeah, and that's, you know, Ryu's had some history with Zed.
Yes, of course, now against Febvin in this situation here, but still, first picking as Zed really shows how confident your mid laner is. And also maybe shows how Febvin wants to show his old teammates how to play against a very good set.
Yeah, well, after a game like he had yesterday, I think you gotta walk with a little bit of swagger in your step.
Yeah, but I mean, still, you don't have to first pick it. I mean, yes, Ryu can play it, so it could have been an early pick for H2K, but still there is a lot of things you can build around him here. You can build a comp with the likes of a Lulu mid lane into Zed, which basically will nullify his ulti in the late game due to the wild growth and the shielding coming in, so that could be an option for H2K. At the same time, Sivir been taken away from Rainova and the Rengar.
So they do grab that one away from Rainover. Sivir's been a really, really hot pick in a lot of leagues right now, actually. There's just so much synergy with a number of supports, by the way, all of which are left open.
Very true. Janna could come in here for Fnatic if they want to disengage against the Rengar engage, because he's gonna come... I mean, the thing about Rengar is he's great at starting team fights whenever his ulti is ready. So if you have a Janna to disengage him as soon as he jumps in, and therefore force him to just wait for ulti to come back from cooldown, then you can kind of shut down the Rengar pick. Only problem is if he does manage to land a Boulder Strike onto you, you're kind of stuck there doing your Monsoon, and you can still be caught by the rest of the team, and that's why Sivir also synergizes so well with Rengar, because not only will you speed him up, you're also going to have the rest of your team able to follow him into the fight.
Yeah, it definitely adds, as we mentioned, a lot of utility to the rest of your teammates as well, and it kind of looks almost exactly like what Fnatic started out with yesterday. On the other hand, Febvin here with the Corki, that's been a pretty high priority pick for a while now, though, so I'm not too surprised.
Yeah, except for here for 5.1. We only saw it once, actually, the last game we played it, but has been a very, very strong AD carry pick for a long time. The funny thing is, it's actually normally being counterpicked by a Sivir, and this time around, Fnatic is picking it into the Sivir pick from H2K. So it could show again that you maybe just want some wave clear for this, for the mid to late game, where Zed, of course, will be split pushing, and you just keep Corki, one of the safest AD carries, sitting in this mid lane here, landing a bit of poke, clearing the waves, and just waiting for Zed and whoever they're picking for the top lane to actually outplay someone in the side lanes and do this 1-3-1, which we always see with Zed.
Yeah, and that's really the way that they're going to want to go with it. Now, interesting pickups for H2K. Okay, okay, never mind. Let's go over to Fnatic for a second, because we have another Olaf.
Yeah, Horo played it yesterday. That didn't work out for him at all, because his entire team fell so far behind. He lost his entire jungle here. But for Fnatic, I mean, you have a very, very good upfront burst now coming in from the Annie, Corki, and Rumble together. and then you have an Olaf and Zed to follow it up and just charge in, kill the backline of H2K here. Sivir won't be able to escape on her own from both a Zed and an Olaf, but still it's a bit of a weird comp from Fnatic, because you have some split push in there, then you have the team fight from the Rumble, obviously from the Annie with her engage as well. So I want to see how they want to play it here in the late game. If you're just going to see the Zed be like Samsung Blue style with Dade, where he would actually just stay with his team and just purely team fight on a Zed, even though he was better off split pushing.
Yeah, I don't think this is a team that really wants to fight. This is kind of like a lot of split focus. And H2K, speaking of focus, they just know exactly what they want, instantly locking in the Leona for Voidal.
Yeah, and we talked about this Lulu pick here. So with them picking Rengar and Sivir early, it just fits in perfectly. Get the Lulu here. Even more synergy, speed up the Rengar. You have the Wild Growth when he goes in for the engage, and you can now prevent Zed from popping your AD carry or a squishy target with the Lulu as well here if you decide to use it defensively. So I really like the pickups from H2K, the response to the first pick Zed. A lot of engage here. If Febivan ever tries to split push, you're going to see Sivir pop her ulti, and you're going to see a Rengar and a Leona just jump right into the enemy team, engage them while there are only 4 members standing around, and therefore forcing Febivan away from this split push here and into team fights.
Yeah, this looks already a lot different than what we were used to seeing in the pick ban from Fnatic yesterday. I'm really a little bit confused by that. H2K seemed to have a much more concrete plan. Maybe, you know, backs against the wall just a little bit after the performance yesterday.
Yeah.
They really could have closed that game out against Copenhagen a lot earlier than they did, but I don't know, it's a little confusing.
Now they have a lot more engage options. Before it was Zion who had to engage in the last game for H2K here. Now you have Leona, you have the Rengar. And again, because of the first pick Zed, H2K has now drafted a comp just around that one. Okay, you want to split push, we're just going to engage on your team. Or you want to try and kill our AD carry. Here's a Wild Growth from our AP mid laner, the Lulu, making it so hard for Fabian to actually play Zed in this game.
Well, alrighty then. That's going to be the start of this one. Now, as the teams load up, let us know who you think came out ahead in that pick and ban phase. Tweet us at LOL Esports using the hashtag FNCWin or H2KWin, and we'll check out the results in just a minute.
And we really have to see what Reyno can do on Olaf here, because it didn't work out yesterday for Horror.
Yeah, here we are starting off the board. Fnatic versus H2K. This is the LCS Spring Split 2015.
All right, so Cloth 5 start from Honey here. No real surprise against an Aurelia. And it's actually a bit of a tricky matchup for Rumble, because what Odo Omni can decide to do is max his E and always just take a little bit of poke damage from Honey when he's trying to farm on this Rumble here. And then you land a stun, followed up by a Rengar gank at level 6, and then you can completely shut down a Rumble in the laning phase, which could be an option for H2K. I mean, again, they have so many options here in terms of engaging fights.
Oh yeah, and on the other hand, on Fnatic, they have some kind of weird synergy here. If they want to chase some things down, they still got the Annie engage as well.
They do have the Annie engage, yeah. Yellow Star played it yesterday, some very good roams early on. Applied a lot of pressure here. A few people yelling for Fnatic.
The fans are pretty excited to see this team. You can change the players, but you can't change the excitement.
Oh, that's very, very true. And a new brand being built up under the Fnatic banner here.
Hey,
Fabian definitely showed yesterday that he is able to replace the likes of Xpeke, if he can keep up that performance at least.
Now with this particular composition, we might see quite a lot of objective solo taken by the Zed. We'll have to see. Huni having a little bit of fun in that brush as he joins Rain over. Start off the Gromp.
Just stacking up a little bit here, getting the extra damage on his Flame Spitter to help out Rain over. And again, Olaf coming in. If he finds Rengar in a one-on-one, especially after level 6, it's going to be very scary, because you won't be able to lock down the Olaf, and he will just chase the Rengar, immobile champion, when it comes to disengaging at least. And wow, Fnatic waiting for H2K here to try and come and stop the Crooks. Didn't actually start them.
Game sense is tingling. You got within about a pixel of danger.
A smart little trick, because we've actually seen more teams going to try and stop the other dual lane from doing the buff, or doing the level 1 camp, than just 2 teams trading camps early on, and very early engage on Yellow Star.
Yeah, really, really quick. They're going to trade just a little bit of damage, but Voidal definitely got the better of that one well. Yarnan's a little bit more interested in the farm game, but looking at the way they want to play this early game out, I feel like Fnatic's lane's going to be a little bit weaker, but towards that team fighting phase, it should start to get very, very, very strong.
Sivir is a very, very strong pick against Corki in the laning phase, because you can spell shield his Q if he ever tries to trade with you, and you just constantly push your wave in, and he's forced to farm on the tower. And at the same time, Leona can engage on the Annie here. So Fnatic for now, happy just sitting back and waiting. and trying to pick up the farm they can, and just letting Yanin push in the wave every time.
That's what Sivir's going to do. It's pretty hard to actually try to freeze a lane as Sivir. It just sort of happens that you push it.
But again, it's kind of somewhat okay for Fnatic because it means we won't see VODS try any engages on Leona because he can't really go on the tower this early on here. And Rio, in this mid lane on Lolo, will be able to just have a bit of a farm fest with Fabian. Won't really be able to kill him, but at the same time, he should be very safe against him.
Absolutely now. Wards down there for them trying to be even safer as possible. I'm curious to see where Reignover is going to end up going, but also what I really want to know is if Lulix can really stack up to the Rengar performance that Reignover had yesterday.
Yeah, Reignover looked very, very strong. I'm not expecting the same kinds of pre-level 6 ganks, because that should never happen again. Never be able to get a be part of 2 early kills through a pre-6 Rengar. So for now, Lulix went back to base. He's no longer doing this. Wow.
Fnatic fan base remains unfazed.
Yeah, 91%. I mean, Fnatic looked fantastic yesterday in H2K. A little bit sloppy in the late game. But Lulix is no longer doing this very greedy jungle route he used to do on 421. He's actually going back after the 3 camps around the boo buff to get his jungle item, get the 30 gold, while Reignover on the other side did a full clear of his own jungle.
In the top lane, Odoamne looking for Huni, but it's just going to be a bit of a slap fest until we get to those level 6. Reignover going to find, oh hey, there's a ward for Reem. Take that one out, 10 gold in the bank, and he's going to chase Lulix into his jungle, or at least feint at it.
And this game here, we can have quite a lot of fights around a potential dragon because there's a lot of mid-game power on both sides. You have Aurelia on one, you have Rumble, of course, getting your magic penetration early. On the other side, and Corki with the Lulu, who also shines fairly well in this big game here. So there's potential for a lot of fights. And Fabian going a bit aggressive. Yellowstar already roamed from the bottom lane. He's still back all alone.
It's going to be trouble. The bull is down, but the stun is as well. Yellowstar going to have to flash out of that one, and that's a win for H2K.
So H2K reading Fnatic here, noticing how Yellowstar was not in the lane very early on, so he must have gone towards the mid lane, and Lulix is running in, finding him, forcing a flash here. Very important, and meaning Yellowstar has to be a little bit careful on this Annie, because you are very immobile.
Yeah, it's really what helped them quite a lot in their game yesterday, but this time Steelback's feeling a little bit of the burn. There we go. Zenith Blade in onto Steelback, but Harnan was too far away to follow through.
H2K have actually just been pushing his bottom lane, so Steelback is not falling behind in CS, even though he's been 1v2 for the last minute at least. Yellowstar will rejoin him now. Yanin now is trying actually to freeze it. Just a little bit too late for him.
Oh.
When it comes to really denying Steelback, which they could have done before if they realized Yellowstar actually roamed away in time. Straight on to
Lost a lot of experience in levels 2 now. He's actually trading reasonably well with Voidal, but they will back right off. Jarnan doesn't really seem 100% in sync with his support, and that's a little worrying.
Well, it's a different playstyle. Let's just see what happens here. Reignover finding Lulix.
A little bit of jungle fight going down. Now, wait a minute, Reignover. Olaf is very dangerous when low, and he forces the flash.
And this is one of the reasons for this Olaf pick here. The one-on-ones against Rengar play very aggressive. Notice how both the solo laners here from Fnatic has pushed all the way up to the tower, opening up for Reignover to invade and knowing he can get back up from his teammates.
He's actually going to make his way up to the top side now, looking for Odoamne, but that was a timely ward from him. Going to spot that one out, and he knows he's still in a bit of a trap, though. Reignover's thinking it over if he wants to go in level 4 to level 6. Maybe not the best play. Wait a minute, what's going on? There was no Huni support, and that's first blood to Odoamne.
Very greedy here, level 4 for Reignover against the level 6 Aurelia, and of course Huni caught on the other side of the tower here. Odoamne just like, okay, I'll take the fight.
Talk about synchronization issues. That was just a little bit awkward. So a little before 7 minutes in, H2K comes up with the first kill of the game, and Odoamne is going to teleport right back to the top lane and get back to the farm.
I think Odoamne was a little bit surprised by the burst as well. Oh, sorry, Reignover was surprised by the burst from Odoamne. This maxing is as we mentioned here, he can do in this Rumble Aurelia matchup, and as soon as Lulix hits level 6, you can just see the camp start against Huni. Just lock him down, the 2-second stun, followed by Rengar, and there should be a kill every single time.
Now, Fnatic's bot lane's been pushed back, not too unexpectedly here. Yellowstar still feeling a little bit of pain from his unsuccessful roam earlier. Steelback doing okay in the farm game, keeping up with his counterpart, however.
Oh, if Fnatic can be happy enough in this bottom lane with Steelback just staying fairly even, because Huni's doing a good job. On the top side already completed his haunting, guys. Now we just need his boots upgraded, and we have this very standard low-cost Rumble power spike for potential first dragon.
Are saving the teleport that was spent by Odoamne, so there is a small timing window that they could try for this one, but I don't think that Fnatic is really wanting to take that kind of risk right now. They're playing extremely conservative, doing everything they can to just not give an edge to H2K right now.
Yeah, and also just sitting back and kind of trading farm on the junglers. At the moment here, Reignover only invaded once he knew his solo laners could actually come and help him. Otherwise, they both have been aiming for this level 6 point. Lulix will be very, very close to see how much XP he's actually missing. At the moment, nothing, because he got level 6.
There you go. Huni is going to be hanging out in the brush. He's invited Odoamne to the party, but he must have missed the memo.
Also, like with Olaf here, you can actually go for Juggernaut. Because again, you scale so well with the HP, and you just want to be as tanky as possible when you're running towards the enemy backline. It's one of those really gold-efficient tank guys, which is 500 HP and also 10% cooldown reduction, which is very useful for the Olaf.
Yeah, it's kind of been a while since we've talked about Olaf builds, really, but
oh yeah,
with the start of a new season, there's always bound to be some interesting stuff, and I'm actually really excited. Especially, I'm really happy he's using that skin too, because that was the skin that I actually drew a picture and asked Riot for 20 RP.
Did you get?
I did.
Wow,
I did. And they told me they don't normally do that.
Don't tell anyone else, because they're just gonna.
Oh, did I spill the beans? Oh man.
Alright, for now, so we have level 6 on Lulix, meaning he can set up a gank. We even have a ward in the tribal here to see if Fnatic goes in toward it himself. So Lulix should know there's potential for a gank over the top side. He's a little bit low, however. Don't really want to take the chance of being counter ganked, because the thing about Rengar is he's extremely good at counter ganking and predicting, or if you can predict where the enemy is sending their jungle. So if you have like a lane pushing and you know the enemy jungle is going to come up there to gank, you have Rengar sitting ready. Let them start the gank first, then you pop it. But now it's going to be on to Huni. He's caught a little bit out of position here.
Right into each other. Ooh, abort mission. Yeah, that's... Once they saw the ultimate from Huni, they wanted to back off.
Yeah, that's the thing also about Rengar. Once you go in, you don't go out again. So you don't really want to be the guy starting it if there's a chance of the enemy jungle being nearby. You'd much rather be the guy to actually disengage or counter.
This time, though, Lulix doesn't have his invisibility, so he's just going to give himself away by chasing in. Yeah, this could get a little bit bloody. Lulix looking for the opening. Reignover and Huni in retreat. Bull is not going to connect, just out of range.
Just out of range, but still, Odoamne kept up with Huni and CS. Once he picks up the wave here at his tower, there was quite a lot of minions being grouped up. Yanan and Voidal actually moving from the bottom into this mid lane. As soon as Ryu went to the top lane, they moved in there to try and see if they could actually prevent any kind of push happening. February decided just to back away.
Game's still very, very even right here. It seems like both teams are at this point of uncertainty where they're not entirely comfortable going in and forcing something, but they're going to try. And this is actually one of the more passive openings that we've seen in the day of play that we've had.
Very, very different compared to what we saw yesterday from both of the teams. With, of course, Reignover and Lulix being very, very aggressive in the early game. But honestly, H2K just waiting for Lulix here to try and create a pick on the Rengar. Before they really want to try and make anything, don't want to try and start a risky dragon. You don't want to give any edge over to Fnatic.
That was a nice back cancel. Fnatic, I feel like, are giving a fair amount of respect here to H2K. There's really not a lot of openings that they're giving, but at the same time, they're not trying to grab anything. They're not trying to be too greedy. I agree, they probably should have tried to set up for a dragon. They had a little bit of a teleport window. Now it's kind of uncertain, but I don't think they expected the H2K comp, to be honest.
No, and I actually think it was okay to set up for that dragon. This early on in the game here, you don't really have any major advantage except for the teleport coming down from Huni, and then he would have to give up a lot in the top lane, and still 4 members this early in the game. When you're tanking the dragon, can do a lot of damage to you. So Fnatic instead just playing fairly safe with it. And basically also saying, you know, we have the Zed in the mid lane against the Lola here. He won't be able to kill her, so let's just have him farm up, get the Blade of the Ruin King so he can start split pushing, because then suddenly there's not really anyone who can stop him once you get in towards this late game. Aurelia will be able to duel him in the start with the Trinity Force, but boom, later, Zed will just completely take over that matchup.
Yeah, and an interesting thing to note here in particular is since we don't really have a true tank on Fnatic, you've got the Olaf going Juggernaut and Chance, so they really want to keep him in the thick of things as long as possible. And it's hard to say anything is meta or not, but oh my goodness, here we go, Odoamne and Huni. Oh, 2v1 Lulix, they're going to secure it, and that is Huni going down. Odoamne 2-0.
Nice little setup here, and again, the Maxi on Aurelia allows you to set up these ganks very, very easily. Fnatic Instantly moving around this dragon here, might try and aim for this mid lane instead because Rainover is on the opposite side here. And H2K, they're not done. Now they are, after the C. Huni on this pink ward here around the Raptor.
A little slow to react to try and make a dragon out of it. Plus, Rainover wasn't really in a good position either.
Huni was dead,
they were caught very off guard by that, and it's just H2K grabbing another little kill here. It's small advantages.
And Huni just playing a little bit too aggressive when his jungler wasn't nearby. Could have been a good bait if Rainover was there, but being so far off and you know the Rengar will have his ult here. This was told that he's dead. 2 kills for Odoamne early. He is the big carry. He's the star player in H2K now. The February has joined Fnatic instead of staying on H2K.
Yeah, Federelia starts to get pretty terrifying once she hits that Trinity Force power spike as well. So that's something that Fnatic are going to have to watch out for. There are a lot of squishies on their team.
Yeah, I really want to see H2K just wait for that Trinity Force to be completed and then try and go down towards an objective like the Dragon here. And try and force Fnatic in. You have all this hard engagement with Leona from the Rengar, Sivir ult here as well. And try and use Odoamne here to just blow up a target because again, as you just said before, there's no real tank. Olaf is going to build very tanky, but he's not there yet. Rest of the backline, Rumble can die easily. Obviously Zed if you get onto him, if he doesn't just juke around you. Should also be a fairly easy target for a Trinity Force here if she gets some help from her team.
Not quite there yet, but Fnatic don't really seem to have much of a plan other than wandering around the backside of the Dragon Pit and clearing out some wards. Yellow Star gonna make sure that happens, and Steelback's just still keeping his farm up, and he's somebody else waiting for a Trinity Force at this point. And again, the game's kind of settled into a bit of an awkward, slow start.
But again, if you do see H2K go for that Dragon with the Trinity Force, they want to create the pick first because you don't want to straight up teamfight into like mid-game Corgi and of course the Rumble. So they want to like create their pick, and if they can, well, no reason for them to start the Dragon, just kind of wait around a little bit. Fnatic, again, waiting for February here to scale up on his Zed, get his blade completed, get the Trinity Force on your core, get the Hourglass on him so you can actually survive this hard engage coming in. So Fnatic has no reason to fight at the moment here. Just get this key item completed first, then you can start looking forward.
Absolutely, and you know, their mid game is going to be insane once they get up to it, but it seems like if they're not planning to, they're going to have to just flip a switch and go, okay guys, now it's time for us to jump in and make the plays and catch H2K off guard, because it almost feels like they're being lulled into a false sense of security right now.
Yeah, just will be a lot harder for Fnatic actually to catch out H2K because you only have Annie here as like the main engager, and she's all alone. I mean, it's going to be all about Yellowstar himself.
Well, it's hard to blow anyone up on H2K's side too. I mean, this is a fairly strong and mobile team from a sustained standpoint. I mean, Odoamne has a lot of getaway, so does Lulex, he can go invisible. Kjarnan, all these ultimates are pretty much built for either engage or disengage. You can go either way with them.
Yeah, and we have to see if Febiven is actually looking to be with his team here and just 5 versus 5, knowing he can't really go split push with the engage from H2K, or what's going to happen. For now, again, still very passive farming for all the teams. Lulex, he's around this bottom lane now. As soon as Yellowstar shows himself, they can engage on him instantly. And if Lulex comes in there as well, he should end up dying.
Making sure that there's no vision there, and you just really never know where Yellowstar is going to be. Here we go. Ryu smited down by Rainover as well. But they're going to have to back off because Odoamne is teleporting on in, and they do not want to deal with him. Oh, look at that damage already. Transcendent Blades, he's going to go for it. Flashes back out. Here we go. Rainover, and he's going to pick the kill after the Ragnarok. Odoamne is down, and another teleport coming in. They found Lulex. Tibbers, they're going to jump on him, but he's going to jump in his steelback, and he just blew him right up. That's going to open a Dragon up for Fnatic, and just like that, they've blown this game open.
Odoamne here, even though he got the 2 early kills, he goes way too aggressive in the mid lane. He's trying to kill Febiven, ends up dying for it, and then suddenly teleport coming in from Huni. Lulex dies as well. Dragon for Fnatic, looking very, very good already from the early game, just with that little turnaround, despite the 2 early kills for Odoamne.
It was just like clockwork. We were saying that they needed to get a little something back in, to get their items up to speed, and then to just go for something, and they found it. Little tiny edge, 1 kill, go for another, snowball it off, and they took the Dragon quite easily, and well played to Fnatic there.
Yeah, well played, and again, Odoamne probably feeling just a little bit stronger than he actually was, jumping in for February here, of course, with Rainover standing around him. Yeah. Already getting so much HP. He's going to do quite a lot of damage when he starts dropping a bit lower as well on this Olaf pick.
Yeah, it's really hard to intuitively think of where Olaf is and how much he's going to do to you, because the lower he gets, the stronger he gets that attack speed boost. And it's really, really dangerous when you're building a lot of tank stats because he can last a lot longer. He looks not as sturdy as he actually is. H2K, they're going to grab a turret out of all that. Still. game's fairly even. They are holding on to a slim gold lead thanks to that turret.
They are, but now Fnatic here actually swapped. Still back to the top side. He has his Trinity Force and Magic Penetration completed, but there's not really any objective to fight for because they got the Dragon beforehand. So fair enough for them. They can just wait around, get Hourglass completed on your Rumble, and Febren already played and Brutalizer. Fairly good on this Zed.
Yeah, he's gone in, not really gotten any pick off, but yeah, Rainover's going to make some moves as well and pops the spell shield of Hjarnan. Fnatic still looking for little openings here and there, but H2K are on their guard after that. The kind of trick only really works once.
They're just waiting again for Lulix actually to create the picks or maybe use...
Oh!
And the Sivir ulti straight on Yellowstar.
Immediately trying to jump on him. Rainover's here. The Timbers is down. However, Yellowstar is going to melt. Hjarnan picks this one up, but Vivian trying to provide some backup. But Ryu is the one that goes down. Voidal now extremely low. It's a double kill. Going over to Huni and Steelbacks coming in from the back, trying to join the party, and he blows up Hjarnan. Now H2K are just starting to melt, but can they pick up more? Not for Vivian. Oda says no thank you very much, and it's a 2 for 4.
And again, H2K starting the fight here. They engage onto Yellowstar, pop everything to kill the support. Febren joins in, Huni with a beautiful ulti as well. I mean, this mid-game power spike on a Rumble and the Corki is just too much damage for H2K to deal with. And the Fnatic now really starting to get ahead.
All ins, don't try this at home. Let's take a look at how that one happened.
So again, they want to try and engage on Yellowstar just because he's a little bit out of position, but because Rainover is here, because Febren can join, and Huni is coming with his ulti here onto H2K. There's just too much damage, and Fnatic are too strong at this point to get the kill. Steelback obviously also joining in at the very end.
And Huni picks up that triple too. It's absolutely nuts. Now Lulix, yeah, he got the smite down, but at that point Rainover's done his job. This is just ridiculous, and Oda got way too late to the party to do anything about it.
Yeah. Nice little pick at first, but then the rest of H2K were not in position to react as fast as Fnatic could. And in the end, I mean, that's the thing about Fnatic and what we saw yesterday as well. The coordination and like the shot calling really seems to be on point. As soon as a fight breaks out, everyone just moves. They join in before the enemy team can react in time. It happened against Elements yesterday, and it's really hard to play against them because you think you have to pick, you think you're catching someone off guard, in the end you end up dying for it.
Yeah, it looked great for a moment if it had just been a pick in that, but you know, the instantaneous reaction. And not only that, you don't always talk about how the shot caller sometimes can get frustrated when they're the ones that get picked off first, but at that point it's just easier. You're not having to control the champion anymore.
Yeah. Oh,
there we go. They're going to try to jump on him. Deathmark is down, and his health bar is going all the way down to 0. Huni with the Rampage kill, 4-1 on this Rumble. They're going to have to start checking him out on the side of H2K.
And again, just a smart little move by Fnatic to send up the Zed. Blade is completed for him actually a while ago. And obviously Oda tries to defend. Well, Huni shows up again on this Rumble here and just 2v1s him. Ends up killing him. And talking about, you know, getting the shot caller to tilt. Yellowstar has played enough games to just keep it very calm, even if he's the first guy to die in these team fights, and still be there for his team.
Absolutely, and you know, it really shows how much he's developed, not just as a player, but as a leader, coming in and picking these guys, effectively having a big say in pretty much everything on the team, and they listen to him.
They do, and I think if you had to keep one member of the old Fnatic lineup to build a new team around, Yellowstar was probably the best option, because again, he was one of the shot callers. He's the captain now, and his mentality going into this new season was, okay, I tried out some of the old names, the big names, and yeah, you know what, I didn't really like them too much. I wanted the young players, the new players who really want to show what they can do, and no egos or anything. Everyone listens to each other, and it's really paid off for him so far here. If they can keep playing like they're doing right now, definitely be a contender for the top spot. Obviously still only 2 games in.
Yeah, definitely can't take too much from it, but here we go. Oda gonna bait the Deathmark out of Fabivin, who's gonna back away from this one on the hunt now. Pop looking for Rainover, but still extremely dangerous to try and jump on an all teleport coming in. Oda huge Timber stun, and that is gonna be Fnatic getting the turnaround. Huni unstoppable. They're looking for Voidal. They should be able to find him, and this tower should be going down as well. Massive play from Fnatic. 2 kills to none.
And again, every single time we have a fight, everyone from Fnatic is moving before it even starts. Rio didn't manage to join in time, but Yellowstar here with the turnaround. The engage was just about to happen from H2K, but very good axe also from Rainover on towards Lulix. Actually slowed him down. He didn't get in range, and then the flash tip was coming in.
Yeah, let's take a look at this one again, because Fabivin Looks like he's in trouble, especially when he goes in there, but then the turnaround.
Yeah, look at the minimap here. Rio was walking back to mid lane while everyone from Fnatic were walking down to this bottom side. As soon as they're engaged, missed from H2K. Flash Tibble's Yellow Star, so much area damage. Huni as well joining in.
And I love the way that Yellow Star played that one out, because not only did he drop the Tibbers on almost everybody from H2K, but then he turns around and stuns the only other member that he didn't hit in the exact same moment. Talk about mechanics. And also, while that's all happening, Fnatic grabs themselves another dragon.
Of course, might lose his mid tower here. H2K has been knocking on it a few times, so at least some goal for them in this game here. But 2 dragons, 23 minutes in, and a lot of gold on your Rumble for Fnatic here.
Yeah, 5-1, not a bad tagline. Everybody, though, is lending a helping hand here. Kill participation isn't too bad on the board. The Vivian may not have any kills, but 7 assists with no deaths isn't too bad either.
Oh, going in once again for H2K.
Yep, the exhaust is down for Vivian. They're going to try to run out. Here we go. Voidal going to check onto Vivian. Here we go. They're going to try to turn it around. Though Rainover. Whoa, that's a lot of damage. Deathmark on the Voidal. Rainover coming up with a kill on Hjarnan, and everyone from H2K is scattered. Huni joining the fight. Lulex invisible might just be able to get away.
Sneaking away.
Just barely, but they lose 2 members. And why is H2K keep trying to force these?
I feel like this is the only option for H2K here. They just keep trying to engage, and every single time they disengage first from Fnatic and then they counter engage. Is it a Rumble ulti? Is it Tibbers? It doesn't matter. Fnatic wins the fight.
And they're going to be able to grab a tower as well. Gold lead starting to creep up there for them. About 5,000 in the bank ahead, so I'm feeling fairly confident at this point.
Yeah, Warmux should be completed soon as well for Rainover here on his ult, just stacking HP. He's going to be so hard to kill. Like, Sivir is one of the worst AD carries when it comes to taking down tanks. So she doesn't really have any percent damage onto them. She doesn't build Blade of the Ruined King either, normally at least. Which normally is a very good item against the likes of an Olaf here.
And we seem to see that H2K looks still a little bit out of sync. Yesterday it was Odoamne going in ahead of his team. This time it seems kind of the opposite. He's sort of late to the party. You have Lulex and Hjarnan trying to run in there and make a play, and Voidal as well with his Solar Flare. But for whatever reason, Odoamne is just not right there when they started.
Now the thing is, H2K think they have like a pick opportunity. That's why they're engaging. They think Fnatic is out of position. But they're not. They're always staying close enough to join in very fast. It was Huni before who was pushing the top lane, but his ulti from long range was enough to really turn the fight around. And every single time H2K think they have a pick option, Fnatic are there, they respond to it. And it simply means for H2K, because they needed that tank item on the likes of an Odoamne, on Lulex as well, before they can really start engaging straight up team fights. They've just been too weak and caught off guard, actually, even though they're the ones starting the fights.
Yeah, Fnatic, the masters of counter-engage here. And you're right, it just seems like as soon as they get anywhere near somebody on Fnatic, the rest of the team comes out of the woodwork, and all of a sudden you have to deal with 3v5.
But also just again the mid-game spike we mentioned earlier here from Corki, from the Rumble. You don't want a straight up 5 versus 5 against those two in this mid-game here. And again is why it's backfired so hard for H2K. They're trying once again on the event.
They're getting the chilling smite down. Lulex, they want this fight, but he's going to death mark away from the Solar Flare. They still pop him down. They may pay for this one, but H2K are going to dedicate to killing Yellow Star. All that's down. They get a double kill going over to steal back. However, this is just kind of going a little back and forth. It's a 2 for 3, and Fnatic still comes out ahead.
Same again. I mean, every single fight, you try and go for this pick here. Everyone moves from Fnatic now, pushing on, doesn't want to chase. This top lane has been built up with quite a big wave here, and all these walls on the top side of the map as well from Fnatic, allowing them just to move around here and actually spotting when H2K wants to go forward and quickly move down to help.
This is the mid-game from hell for H2K. Fabibin gets jumped on here. The smite goes down. They're saying, we're already in deep. We're going to find him. They look for Yellow Star. That's great. Yeah. But then they just have no follow-up. They have no spell rotations left. Rainover runs train over all of them, and Steelback just gets a massive double kill pickup.
You cannot fight against a Rumble in the jungle here. Like, his ulti coming down just basically means you are either going to stand and die on it, or you have to just keep running forward into the rest of Fnatic and you're going to die anyway. So impossible situation for H2K's backline after that engage. And Fnatic really just baiting H2K constantly to engage here.
And there's so many threats on Fnatic's team right now. You've got a Corki that hasn't died yet. That's hit just a fairly good point. And the rest of their team on H2K's side is just not really up to par in the damage department. They can blow up 1 or 2 targets, sure, but they they just don't have anything in the tank after that.
And I really like how Fnatic is putting all the focus now around this Baron here, knowing there might be an opening soon if H2K goes for another engage and Fnatic wins it. Or just if Yanin stays in this bottom lane, he's running now up the river here. Fnatic already started.
They have an insane amount of damage. Look at this one going down pretty quickly, 27.5 minutes. H2K, they have to know something's up, but they're not going to get there in any time at all. And a Baron snuck away by Fnatic. Yep. At 28 minutes.
Great use of pink wards here. Every single member has brought a lot of wards because they're getting so much gold from these kills here, from the fight.
They want more.
Engage as well.
They're going to run hard. Where did his health bar go? And he gets his spell shield on too late. Timber's going down. They're going to Solar Flare to try and get away from this one, but they just don't have the retreat. Lulex taken down by Steelback, and they have to get away from this one, losing a member, and they might lose a turret here too.
Well, let's see if they can actually defend. Still 4 guys left from H2K. They're back in the base healing here, and Fnatic has no minions at all. Whoa.
We're going to jump in. Ooh, that was not recommended. Fabivin coming up with his kill there, and it's going to be another one. Huni flashing forward. The laser nearly finishes him off, but the Zanyas will keep him alive, and they're going to be able to back away if VODS can't catch him, and it looks like he won't.
This Olaf pick here has actually really paid off in terms of starting the fights and just chasing as well, constantly landing the axes, slowing them down. The rest of Fnatic can then follow up. Also for the disengage a few times by Reignover. This Korean duo is looking pretty sharp for Fnatic.
Whole team starting to look pretty sharp there. Another Dragon picked up 3-0, and that movement speed is going to make them even slipperier for H2K to deal with.
Yeah, Baron, the 3 dragons, of course. Meaning, even if you don't manage to finish the game within the next 10 minutes, we're going to have that crucial 5th dragon. We've seen a few times today, at least, teams trying to fight over it. And H2K has really just hit the point now where Aurelia had her Trinity Force spike, but she wasn't tanky enough to take a 5 versus 5. She, again, needed just to cut off people, small skirmish, not a straight-up team fight. They completely failed on that part because Fnatic were always grouped up and able to punish him for engaging. So now you already hit the point where Aurelia is just becoming a bit of a mediocre tank.
Yeah, and they really just, we're seeing this happen over and over again, that they can just start chasing down H2K. And now Fnatic are the ones pushing on in. Reignover, Bro Masia, let's take down some inhibitors. They're going to jump right on for it, and H2K just has no way to stop them. They give it up for free.
Well, the first time H2K didn't actually get caught out of position here because they were so far away from this Olaf. And Reignover, straight for inhibitor, down towards the bottom lane. I mean, who needs split pushing when you're this strong 5 versus 5?
Yeah, they have to demand the attention of H2K, but they're giving way here, and if they can build up a minion wave, they can push this in. However, they have to be paying some attention to the top, but wait a minute. Fnatic hanging out in this brush here, hoping for the check.
Spotting H2K and making sure they can make the same trick. Of course, the old Fnatic death push.
Now it's only with 4 members this time.
Didn't actually connect it.
No, but they have to know something's up in there. It's living dangerously. Oh, maybe not. Oh, all of a sudden, hey, there's 3 members right behind you. Spell shield's down. Maybe they can get the chase, burn both of his summer spells, but there's still a Timbers, and I think they're going to find him. Reignover says, no, you don't. Another pickup, and Fabivin says, hey guys, I'm here.
Fnatic can still do the little trick here, trapping in a bush, and Yanin was like, yeah, good, I'm just going to check my boomerang. No, didn't hit anything, I'm probably safe. Ends up just being blown to pieces again, while Huni could go back, defend the wave here, push it up as well. He can actually build up quite a big wave, and pushing it together with the rest of Fnatic. There's no reason for him to back away.
Yeah, pinging now for this tower. H2K needs to get here to defend this. Teleport actually coming in for Huni. They're going to commit to this one, and H2K is waffling back and forth on this. Here we go. Tower's going to go down. Inhibitor sure to follow. H2K is just not even trying to defend their base.
Fnatic can just go straight to the top line here. The wave was built up by Huni before. Smart little teleport as well on the minion, tanking the tower here, making sure it doesn't die, or at least stays alive for quite a while. And nope, no base gate. You will fit that.
Apparently, Annie's been drinking her milk lately. That is a very large character model with the Iron Elixir.
Looks pretty good. Yellowstar in the front, flashing in. Everyone can follow behind him, get extra movement speed. And they need it. I mean, to catch the Sivir, to catch the Lulu, gotta get that extra movement speed in here. And also the Ghost for Reignover, of course, just landing these axes to constantly follow up.
Yeah, he's really forcing himself to the front of H2K, and they just can't deal with him because what do? Do they focus him and then let him get more dangerous with his passive? Or do they just ignore him and then he just shreks the backline?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you don't have enough damage to kill him at this point. Sivir will never be able to take him on one-on-one. And again, sadly for H2K, they had the right plan. Okay, we're going to play a bit of a pick comp here, try and catch out Fnatic. But the team play and the teamwork from Fnatic was just far better than H2K's. And now they're in a position where they're so much weaker, and they're going to need Fnatic to like dive the Nexus or the Fountain
Yeah, you don't need to win picks and bans when you get this far ahead, when you snowball the game. And here we go, looking for the Master Stroke setup. There's only one tower, one inhibitor left that isn't on the Nexus. And Fnatic is eyeballing it right now. Forbidden bringing up the back, and they're going to wait for H2K to step out the base.
Yeah, and just wait for the super minions to push in on the Nexus turret here and force someone to go down and actually clear them. And then you can just brute force your way in on the tower. Minion waves on their way. And Odoam is sitting down here with the super minions.
Here we go. They've got a normal wave coming on in, and they're going to start pushing in on Voidal. He's going to get a big solar flare. This is what they have to do to try and save alive. Lulex, Huni going to pick up a kill, though, and there's Lulex going down. Forbidden picking up the kill, and just like that, they get 2 for none. Barely scratched, but for steal back. And there's a tower going down here. Should be an inhibitor. How much can Fnatic grab off of this? No, they don't want the inhibitor. They're going for game. Here we go, pushing it down. They're going to be able to take them down. The super minions are just way too strong here. H2K offering absolutely no resistance, and 33.5 in. GG, Fnatic is 2-0.
Man, this team looks absolutely fantastic in their teamwork, shot calling, the mechanics from the players. I mean, Huni on his rumble here, perfect ultis, flash tables from Yellowstar. It is looking so good for Fnatic at the moment, and of course look at the captain here talking to his new teammates.
And you don't need a pep talk, you've got a victory speech to give right there. Extremely well played from Fnatic, surgical victory. They just waited until the time was right, and then they struck.
They were basically just waiting for H2K to make the plays and just disengage, then counter-engage, take the fight every single time. And really H2K, I mean, didn't really have much they could do in this game. From the lost the first few fights, then it was basically over for them.
Yeah, it was a really tough position to be in. They had a fantastic pick and ban phase. They knew what they wanted to do. They just simply couldn't execute it. And this band of newcomers, led by Yellowstar, have just absolutely made a statement here. And that is their massive fan base. Very, very happy to see that Fnatic's still very much in top form.
Yeah, for sure. Again, solid performance, H2K on their side. They wanted to create the picks early with Aurelia once she got the Trinity Force here. Seeing as it didn't work for them, they were forced into team fights. That's where she basically loses all her value if you don't start winning those. And, I mean, you can turn around and say, could they have sat back and farmed a bit more, get the 2 items on their carries? Yes, you could say so, but at the same time, that's where Corki and Rumble as well are going to be the strongest at that point of the game. So how were they going to play it? They had to spread out the map with the Aurelia, try and again create these picks. They didn't have the vision control for it. It's something Yellowstar has always been very famous for, knowing how to place the correct wards here. He's always been one of the guys buying and killing the most wards in the LCS here. So Fnatic, all in all, I mean, looking very solid. The all-off pick from Raynova, I loved it.
Yeah, I really think that if H2K had done that strategy against any other team, it might have worked, because there really wasn't any vision control on their side. We didn't really touch upon it as much in game, but they tried to go for the picks, and they met just an insane amount of Fnatic members in the brush every single time, or out of the brush, as it were.
Yeah.
And Odoamne got a little bit cocky there. He went in, he made some big plays early, came up 2-0, and I almost wondered, Rainover goes in that early and tries to 1v1 him, saying like, hey, Huni will back me up, and he doesn't. And then at that point, Odoamne is like, I can take on anybody.
And that's the thing. I mean, that was the first turnaround in the game after Odoamne had such a great start on Aurelia, 2-0. Goes for that mid lane teleport, dives onto 2 guys all alone, ends up dying for it, gives up the dragon and another kill as well to Fnatic. And that was all they needed to really just completely take over the game. So for H2K, again, you have Rio. He's a new mid laner. You lost Febiven, who they, of course, just played against. It will take time to make it work here. You're going to lack that communication. We always talk about it with Rio, because he's not like Raynova, who speaks English. It is hard for them, but going into next week, they have to look at the early game they're playing and say, okay, fair enough, we're doing a good job early on. What's going wrong in the team fights itself? How can we fix it? How can we fix our map rotations, our plays, our vision on the map? Yeah,
they definitely have a lot to think of going forward. I really don't think Ryu's communication this time didn't seem much like a problem. He was fairly well in sync. They weren't always out of it, but I was a little bit troubled by Odoamne going in again when it was sort of
him jumping
not
in.
safe to do so.
And that's the thing, we don't really know what's going on in terms of like their communication in the game itself, is if Ryu is trying to communicate a lot, or if it's miscommunication when one guy engages, the other guy runs away. But there were a few times where you could see Fnatic were moving down as a team before the fight would even start, while the rest of H2K was still running around. Like Rio would run back to the mid lane to wave clear when his team is engaging on the bottom lane, and that's where Fnatic are instantly 5 members against 4, turns around the fights. They are the better team at the moment. That's all we can say, and they played Another great game.
Yeah, and H2K, you know, credit to them for really pulling out quite a lot of good plays, or what could have been very, very good plays. They did manage to pick off their targets a number of times. It just was Fnatic's follow-up was just absolutely insane. I really, really think that given some time, given some refinement, you know, Coach Prawley will be talking to them a little bit, giving them some encouragement and say, hey guys, it's okay, you know, we come 0-2 into this, but we can still come right on back. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that one a little bit more on the analyst list. So we're going to shoot it over back to Shox, who's